asked for it and I'm sharing it. Someone asked for me to share all the Disney princesses that I have crocheted using a existing pattern from the Friendly Red Fox. I spent months in creating Disney princesses, and I want to show you some of the things that I did on these dolls to modify a pattern that is free on the internet and maybe inspire you to create your own Disney inspired dolls. Hi, I'm Tammy, Crafty Mompreneur. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. In this video, I will be showing each of the dolls, explaining a little bit about what I did to modify the basic pattern and giving you tips along the way. So let's get into that video. At the end of last year, I came across a pattern by the Friendly Red Fox. This baby princess pattern is what the pattern is called, and it's a free pattern on her blog, and I will link it in the description box below. So this is a picture of the pattern, and it reminded me a lot of Cinderella. Started the baby princess phenomenon with crocheting Tiana, and this is probably the one that's the closest to the original pattern. I just used like a chocolate brown yarn, so I added this ruffle to the dress, but everything else is pretty much exactly as the pattern goes, except for one thing. Her pattern calls for you to sew on the legs. I try to sew on as least limbs as possible. What I do is on round 4, I crochet the legs into the doll. So that's one way that you can make this just a little bit less sewing. You know, I create the ruffle by doing like an increase stitch. Let me just show you. And then double crochet. I did not film myself making all these dolls because at the time I did not think I was going to be doing YouTube. So I'm just gonna kind of show each doll to you and then explain kind of what I did for each doll. The next one I did is a Cinderella inspired doll. The main change that I made for this one is I did a headband, and this is just a chain stitch. I think I just looped it so you can see. And then again, I crochet the legs into the bottom of my dolls rather than sewing them in because I don't like sewing pieces. So this is completely like with the body, it's a no sew except for the head. So this is Cinderella. Snow White was a little bit more challenging with her hair because I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to do it. I tried to, look at the pictures of the princesses, wherever their part is on their hair. And you simply you can use the same techniques that are included in the pattern that she provides, and then just adjust where you do your indentations. So like for her, I just did the one indentation down the middle because she has a middle part. And then for hers, I just did loops of hair, short loops. It's hard to see. Let me just show you. Short loops of hair all across the base of the hair. It's kind of hard to see with black, but you're gonna chain and then just loop it to the next one. Headband. And then the bow is just like a chain and then double crochet and then attach it in the middle. What I did with the sleeves, the blue and the red, like two strands on the hook. And then of course just do the color change from white to blue and then add the yellow. And this is the sparkle yarn from Burnett. All of these are done in Burnett blanket yarn. Belle is probably one of my favorites, and this is actually my daughter's. I gave it to her. I used the yellow sparkle yarn again, and I think the only difference is I added long strands for her and more indentations for her hair. And then I did curly cues by chaining and then doing increases for how much curl you want them to have. And then I just did those at the base. And then her little bun with a chain stitch around the bun. Rapunzel, she's another favorite. Her hair was probably one of the hardest because I wasn't sure how to get the long flowy look without it just being like strands of yarn. And then of course all the little flowers also. So there's flowers on her head. And for this, I just Googled how to crochet flowers or something, then just did different ones. And again, I also crochet all the pieces in, so there's no sewing other than the head. Hair was pretty challenging. I tried to make it a little bit braided and twisted and long. And then for her sleeves, I just weaved in the pink yarn into the stitches to give it that look. So next is Jasmine. Okay, so Jasmine was a challenge because she did not have a dress. I did her little balloon legs. So these legs I actually did have to sew on. So that made her a little more challenging, and I had to figure out how to make the legs look like her little puffy genie pants, you know? So she was challenging, and then her hair was just adding like chains, slip stitching up the chains, and then putting them together with these little bands. And then again, she gets a headband too with a little piece of yarn. So this is Jasmine. So Ariel has always been one of my favorite princesses. She was like one of the original favorites. It was actually the first Disney movie that I saw with my niece. And so I made this version of Ariel in her blue dress. And again, this was a lot of hair. And I just did long chains and then came back in and looped them into the hair. And then her bangs are also a lot bigger than some of the other dolls. See how her bangs are a lot bigger. So I did like treble crochets on her bangs to give her that kind of feel. And then her bow is definitely very big. It's a very big bow. And then lots of color changes on her dress. So the main color change on the body, and then the color change here, and then adding the dress of a different shade of blue. But then I knew there was another dress of Ariel, and so I went ahead and made the pink version of Ariel. Again, the hair is the same, just chain stitches, and then looped back into the headpiece. So really long chains, then looped back in. For hers, I tried to do the swoop-de-doo on her dress by doing color changes, so that was a little bit challenging. And then this is also just yarn threaded through her sleeves. This is the second version of Ariel. So cute. The final two that I did were Anna and Elsa. If you saw any of my previous videos, you know that my two daughters remind me of Anna and Elsa. For many years, I tried to get them to dress up as Anna and Elsa when they were little, and they never were interested in doing that. So crocheted Anna and Elsa, and I'll show you Elsa first. So Elsa has many parts. She's got her long sparkle hair. You can see that it sparkles. Then she has just the basic dress, but then of course her sleeves are a different color. And then I did smaller shoes, like some of the other shoes are bigger, these a little bit smaller. And then she also has the cape. So the cape, it doesn't come off, I sewed it down. And then her braid was just strings of yarn braided. I attached strings of yarn on the base of the headpiece and then braided them all together. So you can see how I did that there. And then one of the other things that I did is I did the V on her things with just color changes. So there's Elsa, love her. And then my last one that I did was Anna. So Anna, again, she has two braids. She's got the white stringing that through, and I just put this on after the fact, after I'd already done it, and then braided a piece of white yarn through the braid. Her cape is not attached, but you can see her cape. And then I did lots of color changes for her on her body. I did the gold. There was a row of gold, and then she has the black, the blue, she has the teal arms, and then she's got boots. So I did all of that for Anna. I will say it was really a fun like era. I did. It was over the course of a couple months that I was on this Disney doll making adventure, or Disney princess doll making adventure, because I just kind of got attached. And so those are all the ones that I've done. I've taken them to a couple markets to sell them, and no one's bought them. And I think I've taken them to maybe like three markets. And I think that's my sign that I'm just supposed to keep them, because they were a lot of work and I am a big Disney fan. So if you're someone who wants to modify the Friendly Red Fox's baby princess pattern, I hope you found this video helpful, and maybe it'll inspire you to create your own Disney inspired dolls. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and we will see you next time. Bye.